Welcome to the Vibrational Apothecary, and I will be your dimensional liaison tonight. I just wanted to briefly talk a little bit about the subject of astrology because that is something that a lot of people are very conflicted about. But I would just like to point out that if you don't think that the movement of the planets and the celestial bodies have an impact, well, what about the moon? That has a pretty massive impact on this planet. Yes, it is the biggest and closest to us, but every woman on the planet can tell you that the moon has a pretty major impact on the cycles of our lives. And whether you recognize it or not, even if you're not a menstruating person, the moon still has an effect on your life. Lots of people have interesting times around the full moon, especially depending on when and where it is. So let's face it, the vibrations that impact us, gravitational waves, I guess, if you want to call it that, yeah, they do have an impact on us. And if you think about how many celestial objects there are in our relatively immediate vicinity, and they're all moving and they all have different gravitational influences and pulls, the orbital mechanics is just insane. Like, just way too complicated. So, much respect to people who are big into astrology and who, this is a very ancient science, really. A lot of people don't think of it as such, but it is something that is based on observation. And if we start from the premise that, all right, well, the moon has a pretty massive effect on our lives in terms of its cyclical nature. Oh, yeah, how about another one? The sun. The sun has a pretty major effect on our lives. The cyclical nature of the sun in our lives keeps us alive. Literally, it's the most important one. So, starting from there and then moving down to the moon and, the next celestial bodies that are closer, the planets, yeah, I can understand how people with lots of time on their hands and no social media to waste any of their precious daylight or evening hours would have spent a lot of time perhaps observing the skies and taking notes and making observations over years, over decades, and then passing that information down through the generations until it has become the body of work that we now know as astrology in all of its arcane branches. I don't pretend to know too much about it. I have a very basic passing familiarity with it. But I'm not going to write it off because I know I, for one, get my ass kicked whenever Mercury's in retrograde. I don't know about you, but pay attention next time. Maybe it's there's a particular planetary thing that goes on that doesn't work for you. I just know that when Mercury's in retrograde, just stay home. Just just stay home. Don't do anything. Don't start anything. Don't try to talk to anybody. Don't even try to use the computer. Probably not going to work. So, that's what I have to say about astrology.